Hi, friends. This idea popped up while I was training, and this is why I love lifting. The brain cells were popping and my creativity levels were high. And also within the season of rounding out products for the end of year, figuring out best of video ideas, I thought, why don't I film a brand focused year in review and highlight Pat McGrath Labs? Although some might consider me to be a Pat McGrath expert, I am a Pat McGrath enthusiast. You can just see by the amount of videos I have on my channel dedicated to her brand. But I thought, why don't it be fun to look at all the products that she released throughout the year? I had to take notes because going back and seeing what dropped, making it all organized was quite funny. And I'll start off with the Bridgerton release, which technically dropped December 2021, but I felt like it bled into the new year. And I remember specifically that morning, it was at Equinox on a Sunday, on my phone trying to get this collection because I didn't know if I would encounter glitches or whatnot. So we had the Diamond of the First Water Mothership 6-pan palette, as well as the Divine Blush and Glow Trio Love at First Blush curation, and the two highlighter compacts. I didn't even take the sticker off this one. Both in, let's see here, the Divine Glow highlighter, what is the technical name? Incandescent Gold 002, and the Yellow Gold Extreme Gold 002. With the Satin Allure lipstick, I can't recall if I bought that during the second Bridgerton release where it came in the pink, because this was in the blue packaging. The lipstick with the bow on it, here it is. I have the pink cap component, but this also came in the blue. Now, I never watched Bridgerton. I never had interest in it because if it's not animated media, not to say real people media is bad, I just have a preference, okay? I went after the collection not because of the show, but mostly because of the shadows included here. This was the first time Pat had the baked shades in a 6-pan format. Usually only included are the metallics and matte shades. These were really nice baked shades that had a soft veil of color on the eyes. I believe they were called like eye blushes during the release. And this shade, this is like an astral shade, which typically only found in her big Mothership palettes. Now we have available in a smaller format. So I thought that was pretty cool. Not particularly crazy about the packaging. I know they were trying to tie in the theme of Bridgerton in terms of the era the show took place in. So it was a very literal adaptation in terms of the packaging, also seen here with the Divine Blush and Glow Trio. You have this design on the compact, which I'm like, okay, whatever. What I thought was beautiful was the powder embossing here, and the actual highlighters, they come in the baked formula, and of course, super ultra shiny. Amazingly beautifully shiny, right? Especially, I actually have this year's holidays release on the cheeks, but if you want to see a little dab, put a little incandescent gold and just tap it, it's really going to steer that highlighter to lean a little more yellow gold. But it was fine. I wasn't particularly excited for it, I guess because, sure, I'm not a fan of the show. I was more looking forward towards the shades, for sure. And when I used it, it was a fine palette, absolutely. And because I wanted to review it, I bought it right away. But I would have waited for it to go on sale, which I think it did at one point. I'm not entirely sure. The eyeshadow palette is no longer available because this was a limited release, nor were the highlighters. But there are a couple of bundles still on the site that maybe you can buy. I know there were the lipstick bundles with the blue and the pink packaging for the lipsticks. So, there was so much. But yeah, it was a soft start to the new year, I think. And then March 2022, we had a second Bridgerton release. I don't think, did anything happen in January? If it did, let me know down below. My apologies for skipping it. What I have here in my notes is for March 2022, Bridgerton number 2, we have Belle of the Ball Mothership. And this is where we have the Gigabyte lookalike. Between the two, it's hard for me to decide which one I like better because the first one had 2 eye blushes and the second had 1, but then it had this killer Gigabyte lookalike as well as this beautiful topper shade named Diamond's Desire. Whereas in the first Bridgerton palette, Regency Blue had like that blue topper moment, but Diamond's Desire I think was a little more versatile. Whereas Regency Blue added a little pop of color, it ended up making the eye look, I think, more silver and cool in nature. I think I prefer the second Bridgerton release over the first. For the eyeshadows, some of these are similar. Again, the Gigabyte lookalike, but the mint shade I thought was nice to include here as like a soft moment if you wanted to add, again, a little bit of that blue, but it's warmer than Regency Blue, the topper shade. So again, probably would have purchased this on sale, but like with the videos and the YouTube things, I bought it so I could share about it and tell you if you should wait for it to go on sale. I did not get the Blushing Delights, the cardboard circle with those baked blushes. I almost caved. It was on my mind, weighing heavily, but I just didn't like the packaging. I thought it was impractical, but many of you had said the blushes are beautiful, and I believe that is no longer available. Why did I get this though? I'm complaining about impracticality, but I bought a body shimmer powder. Scintillating diamond body shimmer, sold out as well. Got the puff here, and I think what they were trying to capture with this packaging design is perhaps someone's experience in the Bridgerton era wearing or applying makeup. They will probably have these items, you know, powder puff things like this, so perhaps they were trying to recreate that vibe. But you know, I never, well, that's not true, that's an absolute, I rarely wear body shimmer powders. It's going to give just like that light glow on the skin, and who knows, maybe I would find myself in a situation where I want the collarbones to shine, and I have the body powder to now do that with. I did buy Satin Allure in negligee, and that's what I have on now. The Satin Allure formula, I think, is a newer formula that was introduced to the brand. First, we had like that satin, very tight on the lips, which people were like, it's creamy, but a little too creamy. Whereas the Satin Allure has a little more slip and emolliency, whereas it's giving you that warm embrace versus a tight, uncomfortable hug like the previous formula was doing. Amazing lipstick, but the component is a little cheaper in the manufacturing. I have the Divinyl, hold on, lipstick component to compare, and even though this is smaller, it has a little more weight to it, and I just think it's more appealing in terms of the design with the shiny chrome and the cap. You see there's like a finishing here with the gold, and you just have a line and the top is the same color, so it does feel less luxurious than her other lipstick products in the lineup. That will be my critique for both the Bridgerton collections, right? With the cardboard packaging, it doesn't have that same luxurious feel as you experience with her Mothership palettes and other products in her lineup that just give that elegance element to it. Moving into May 2022, the introduction of Pat McGrath Labs' first skincare product, the Divine Skin Rose 001 Essence. I have the Kombucha tea essence here because I remember someone was like, it's the same thing as this, and they were very adamant about sharing that, so I made sure to include it in this video. This bi-phase concept for Essence is not new, clearly, but I think Pat heavily relied on the oil and essence mix to just give that skin a milky textured look to it, which this definitely does. And I'm sure you're asking, well, Missy, have you been using it? I haven't been using it as much as I should because fragrance and me, depending on the time of year, it could be more tolerable, others not. So I haven't been using this as much as I should. I think because since it did arrive in May, that was during the summertime, it was a little too emollient for what I needed in my skincare routine, but now that it's colder and my skin appreciates a little more oil-based or oil-including products, that I probably will start using this again. But I would consider this more of like a makeup prep item where, again, not necessarily for your morning or evening routine, but because this is so expensive, I would recommend you use this as much as you can. Sure, if you could afford using something like this once in a while on your clients or on yourself where you want to take photos or video, it's going to give the skin the prep it needs for any foundation you decide to apply after you apply the essence. It will just have like that beautifully luminous finish to the complexion, especially when you use Pat's foundation. Pat's foundation and this is just remarkable. I'm actually curious to use this with the Hourglass. I think that'll be a great matchup. So I'm gonna keep this on my desk. Yeah, because well, right now I'm using the Gothamista and Sour de Rue essence, which I favor over the Pat because that's fragrance free and I really like the texture of that as well. So I'm almost done with that. I'm halfway done with that. I am contemplating buying another one though. Still will have this on my desk for makeup application just to kind of spruce up the juiciness of my skin. I can't wait to see what Pat has in mind. If she decides to do another skincare product, I wonder what it would be. I would predict, predictions down below fam, I think she would definitely go moisturizer. I wouldn't think cleanser or serum because she already has the primer. And from a makeup artist perspective, for someone to be in the chair and what you can do in that moment, it's either going to be something you apply and it stays on. I highly doubt that, you know, you'll do a cleanse in the chair. So items like essences, toners, serums, and moisturizers, I think more in the wheelhouse of possibility for what could be Pat McGrath's next skincare product. We shall see. And of course, if you want the fragrance-free version, the Dr. Cerecol, what is this? Vegan Kombucha Tea Essence. Yeah, it has the milky texture, just like the rose essence, but doesn't smell like anything, and has the same effect, in my opinion. June 2022, the Divine Blush Duos, 6 shades released in all, in addition to the Divine Glow highlighters released in 4 shades. Because when was it? I think it was the original Divine Blush release that we had Golden Moonlight and another highlighter, maybe which is Golden Moonlight. We had 4 shades in the highlighter lineup, which was wonderful. 6 total. Can't count. 6 shades for the blushes. I do not have Venetian Sunrise or Aphrodite Amore, but I have the rest of the 4. Today I applied on Paradise Glow, which that was so funny. Deciding if this was indeed Desert Orchid, but I believe this was confirmed to be Paradise Venus. This is actually a different shade. It's not Paradise Orchid. Paradise Orchid has a little more pearl in there, and this is more peach in feel and in look. I really like Paradise Glow because if you felt Paradise Venus on its own, if you're lighter than me or even my complexion was a little too much, because as much as I love that shade, I know it can give a lot. With the inclusion of this softer peachy beige with Paradise Venus here, I think it's the perfect dose of terracotta with you having a little more control with how it appears on your skin. And you could also bring it lower if you like. Instead of higher here on the hollows, you could bring it lower just to have more of like that terracotta flush on the center of your face. And then I popped on a little bit of Cosmic Coral here, more from the pinky side of the duo, and I just love the brown and the pink together, especially if you swirl them together. That's a great one and done moment. You get a little bit of the toastiness but a little bit of the flush at the same time. Divine Rose 2, one of the cooler offerings. Not as much distinction as you saw from Cosmic Coral and Paradise Glow, but a nice pink duo, right? So this, I think, leans a little warmer than the original Divine Rose shade, and I quite like how it appears on the skin. And why don't we go a little, just apply a little bit. I like to get this on the center of the face and more on the apples of the cheeks. So that's going to present more of a stronger flush effect on my complexion. Night Bloom, was a moment. This, I think, with Venetian Sunrise really caught everyone's eye. The violet with the vibrant, warm orange red. My goodness. This I had to be careful with because this is serving a lot. And I would apply this higher on my cheekbones, not as low, because if I were to apply this red right here, there will be a lot of blending to be had. So I don't reach for Night Bloom as much as I do the previously 3 shown. And then I have Golden Moonlight. Is it? Yes, it is. This broke, so I have to be very careful. Oh my gosh. But these powders from Pat, as opposed to her baked formulas, the pressed powders are actually quite nice because there is an oil there in the formula and it just allows the powders to melt on the skin, especially if you are concerned with texture in regards to highlight. The Divine Glow highlighters are sensational and what are also found in her most recent blush palette holiday release items. Yeah, but I think there's like a little more shine in the individual compacts. I can quickly swatch. Again, let me be very careful. The problem with these highlighters in transit is that you need to pack these like whoa, right? Or else they will crack. But isn't that gorgeous? Just so smooth and it looks wet on the skin. You don't need a ton. So these last you forever. In comparison to the single blush release, you know, if you had all those blush shades, I think I said this in my original video, you can create the same type of blush look from those blush shades if you wanted to combine them. But I do realize how efficient it can be to have 2 shades in one compact. So probably a little more appropriate for that person who did not buy the singles, maybe waiting for a palette moment or even a duo moment, and perhaps they thought that was a better matchup for their makeup life. Okay, in the same month, Midnight Voyage, our little mini release, but I did not buy this until July. So if you see the date on the video where I filmed with this palette, I was a month late. My apologies. This was actually well received because this had a lot of repeat shades. Just one use shade. Skin Show Divine Glow from Bronze Seduction. Entrapment from Bronze Seduction. Sunset Bronze. Hello, focus. Sunset Bronze was the one use shade. Extreme Aubergine Bronze Seduction. Eleganza Divine Rose 2. And our beloved Night Creature from Subversive. Excellent little palette. I adore the fact that you have entrapment here. It's going to give you depth right away through the crease. Extreme Aubergine, really nice escape from Extreme Black or even Black Coffee is not an actual powder matte, but all the powder mattes that are similar to that shade, nice to have the Eggplant as our defining eyeshadow shade. And then to have Night Creature, this is just one of my most favorite Pat McGrath eyeshadows from her entire portfolio. It is classic because it came from her first 3 motherships. When they hit the market, everyone was like, whoa! And Night Creature with Gigabyte, I think, iconic for me. Subliminal and Sublime, absolutely too. We could argue for those as well, but Night Creature, the one. Sunset Bronze too. You know, Mother always has to include some type of a bronze or gold. She didn't include the gold. I'll take the copper bronze over the gold. And the Skin Show Divine Shade, you know, just to have some sort of highlight moment. And again, with Eleganza, Eleganza is extraordinarily smooth. Just look at that shade. Again, one of my most favorites from her Divine Rose 2 palette with the 2 mattes. And listen, it's not as luxurious as her Mothership, clearly, but just the compactness of it makes it easy to travel. You don't have to worry about this racking in your makeup bag. You just have to pack it well so none of the shadows crack. So I think it's practical for sure, especially if you like Pat McGrath, you don't love Pat McGrath, not willing to drop dollars on a Mothership. But you know, she had held so many sales this year. I mean, and many of you were like, I'm thinking about getting this palette finally because it's on sale. And I get it. I would totally wait, especially from what we've seen. Like, why would you get anything from Pat McGrath full price? And my apologies for this brief interruption. I failed to realize at the time that my audio card stopped recording. And here I am with this voiceover covering my last thoughts about Pat sales. So all that to say, when it comes to new Pat McGrath products, even if you want it right away, I would highly recommend that you wait so you could get a discount if that sale does come along. Now up next, which probably one of the most highly anticipated releases for Pat McGrath in 2022 was Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction that dropped in July, and also quite special since I partnered with the brand for the first time in showing this palette. I think what the appeal is for me in Moonlit Seduction is its minimalist take on these shades: Rosewood Romantique and the plum shade Extreme Nocturne. These are beautiful mattes, and then paired with the different metallics in here, you have a nice mixture of cool and I would say neutral, which I feel a nice departure from Subliminal Mothership 1, which I think mostly cool, as well as Mothership 7 Divine Rose 1. I would consider very mauve, almost grayish leaning with all the colors in there. You have a little bit of everything in Moonlit Seduction, and while I understand it might not be as robust as Mothership 3 Subversive or Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction, I think the subtlety but also the moments of impact, again, phenomenally done in Mothership 10 and easily became one of my favorites, both of the year for Pat releases and one of my favorite Mothership palettes in the collection. My audio card just went out. I don't know at one point I was chatting. Hopefully it captured most of that conversation about Moonlit Seduction. I was going into Platinum Dust because this shade right here, oh my goodness, is so beautifully shiny. And it has just like that smokiness to it where it could do bad all by itself. You just need to slap this on your lid and maybe slightly dust it with Extreme Nocturne, or if you want to go rosier, either with, what is this, Plum Cabaret, Rosewood Romantique. And the Astral shades, I feel, are a little softer. Well, hold on. Astral Lilac is a little more chunky than Astral Gold Lust. Astral Gold Lust is a little smoother. Lilac, a little more chunk, but it's pretty. Yeah, you got that unicorn moment in Moonlit Seduction if you wanted to sprinkle a little something something. I actually applied VR Sextasy over one of the metallic shades from Celestial Nirvana, and here I'll just place Astral Lilac. I'm telling you, Moonlit Seduction is beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to work with the brand with Moonlit Seduction, and the fact that my compact has my initials on there. I mean, done. Okay, in August there was the Supreme nail polish collaboration that I did not participate in because last year or whatever, how many years ago, I was burned by the fact that I did not have a chance to grab that Supreme lipstick. And I saw the nail polish, I was like, oh well, I guess I'm skipping that, not even gonna try. And from September to October, or I should say from September to November, we started to see leaks, peaks of the holiday release, which, okay, I think from all the releases we've seen this year, the holiday drop was by far the most exciting one. Even with Moonlit Seduction and its beauty, Celestial Nirvana. Look, the green, everyone. Just all these colored mattes. We were floored. Not only that, but the amount of products that were included in this collection. We had the quints, we had the colorful mascara with, oh my gosh, the holographic tube. We had the highlighter. And this is just one out of the two we have, I think, is Venetian Nude. Where did it go? We got Nude Venus 2. We had the two Divine Blush and Glow palettes, both in Divine Rose and Nude Venus. This is like the more pinky, vibrant one. And Nude Venus is the little more neutral, earthier offering. I applied Desert Divinity on the crease and then went in with Fabulosity, this fuchsia matte, as well as a little bit of Violet Vixen. And what I adore about this palette is this shade here. This allows you to mix with the other colorful, vibrant mattes in here in a way that subdues them if you're not into colorful mattes by themselves. When you combine the shade, they don't muddy up. They just create a really beautiful gradient. So the quality of these colorful mattes, I thought phenomenal, and you can layer them as much as you like, and the metallics are super smooth and ultra shiny. This right here, Bronze Infatuation with Desert Divinity. Are you kidding? It's like one of the most simplest eye looks you can create from this palette, and this perhaps was my most favorite item from the holiday collection. I do love the blush palettes as well, as much as I can't stand the huge rectangle. Again, I love uniformity. I wish they were all circles, you know, or just 3 blushes and 1 highlight shade. Yeah, and it could look like this. That's just me. I gave away my Bronze Bliss Quint. My apologies for not having it in this video, but in my original video, I do swatch Lunar Luxury. That shade was the shiniest eyeshadow out of all the eyeshadows released in this holiday collection. It is outstanding. It looks like foiled silver on your lids. Whoa. Nude Allure has its appeal too. It houses the quints with this, like, I don't know if this was the newer formula, but it's like a softer, more creamy powder matte. Not exactly Natasha Denona moussey creamy powder matte, but it has a really nice softness to it. And this color in particular, I really like. It's like a mauve, a very earthy mauve tone that I feel fantastic for every day. And paired with these plum copper shades, really nice, I think, for like that daily smoke with a little more character because of the types of shades that are included in Nude Allure. And I have a little bit of Aquamarine Dream here with falsies just to invite a little bit of color there. I ordered 1 lipstick. I think I ordered Nude Venus. So this is my critique about that drop. The brand dropped it in bits, and I'm like, so every week we had to, like, if we wanted something, get on the website again to deal with buying something from Pat McGrath Labs instead of just dropping everything at once. And the reason why I say that is because the brand loves to do bundles. I feel if they would have just dropped everything, they could have capitalized on the bundling and just give us different choices in terms of trying to save on these items, you know, buying them together versus separately. After the blush palettes, and they were showing the lipsticks, I was like, whatever, I'll get the lipsticks later. And I'm glad I waited because I think I ended up getting Nude Venus on sale. The sale that happened this time of year for Black Friday or earlier was insane. 40% off, $250 or more. Please. During the holiday release, she also had the Liquid Lust lipsticks in a more metallicized, that's not even a word, metallic finish on the lip. It had the red chrome packaging instead of the black packaging. I did not get those as much as I wanted to. There were 1 or 2 shades that I had my eye on, but I saw the Liquid Lust lipsticks that the brand was so nice to send to me. I have not been using them. So that was a strong indication that I needed to stay away from buying more Liquid Lust lipstick products. And that has been it so far. Who knows what Pat McGrath Labs will release? I doubt anything new before the new year, maybe. And I'll talk about it next year, I guess. Or we'll quickly come on here in a December favorites video. We shall see. I'll stay on the lookout. Let me know down below, fam, what your favorite Pat McGrath release was for 2022. I would love to know down below. And your predictions for 2023. Are we gonna do Mothership 11? How many Motherships are we gonna do? That'll be interesting to find out if we're going to get another skincare product. Maybe we'll get, I want bronzers. But what keeps me from predicting bronzers is that I don't know if Pat relies on bronzing for her models. Like, I don't know if she relies on that step for her makeup and, you know, how she likes the complexion to look. I feel like she would use that though. If not bronzer, Contour? Maybe she'll do a contour stick like she does the highlighting stick. Oh, that will be something. I feel Mother would prefer a cream product for contouring or even bronzing. Maybe we'll get a bronzer stick. Perhaps a dual-ended bronzer stick. One side for the bronze and the other side maybe for like a coppery variation, like gold for the bronze. So you got the matte here, but something shiny for here. And since it will be a cream, I don't think it will accentuate texture like a powder would if you were to apply that type of shimmery whatever lower here on the cheeks. That will be really cool. Maybe that's not makeup artist specific, but in my head, I always thought bronzing powders, but now I'm thinking about it, I feel she's gonna go cream. You will let me know your thoughts down below, fam. I'll see you down in those comments, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Pat McGrath extravaganza, or ranking video. I know I owe you guys one. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.